Round number one. Tim Witherspoon, as you can see, considerably bigger than Darroll Wilson. Wilson trying to live up to his nickname of doing damage.
Work out.
Witherspoon is not a guy who is going to get knocked out very much. Although it has happened a couple of times. Happened when he went over to Copenhagen to fight Brian Nielsen, but he said he only trained for 4 days before that fight, got himself whacked in the 4th round, and then his old pal Greg Page stopped him.
Let him up.
They fought a couple of times, but he stopped him back in June of 1999. 1999, a tough year for Tim Witherspoon. He fought twice, he lost twice, both by way of knockout. But since then, even though he's fought guys who are not quite his caliber, he has put together a little bit of a streak, winning 7 of his last 8.
Well, I think Witherspoon was going through a few years there where it was a little hard to get motivated for him, probably. Just thought of himself as a journeyman. I think what happens is he's been encouraged by his recent success, that he feels he's a real fighter once again, and not just somebody going around. I tend to believe what he says about his fight with Brian Nielsen. I mean, there's just no way a guy like Brian Nielsen should ever beat Tim Witherspoon.
Well, to be really candid, I had a chance to do a number of Tim Witherspoon's fights when he was, both when he was the champion and when he was going after the championship. And he really oftentimes would just show up out of shape, and he had a lot of guys around him who probably shouldn't have been around him. And just a guy who did not come up to his capabilities. He was an underachiever. Now he's trying to disprove that.
You saw Witherspoon land a left there, and also just before that he flashed a right hand. You've got to really look out for that, especially when they're in close like this. He will throw the right hand. He kind of lulls you to sleep. He's leaning up against you. You don't think he could possibly throw a right hand over the top from the distance that he's at, but he will do it, and he is successful with it at times.
He's really not allowing Wilson any punching room either. Wilson is not doing anything.
Darroll Wilson came out fairly strong, but I think he tasted a little bit of what Tim has to offer. Now has backed off some.
Right hand at the top of the head by Witherspoon.
Been a great weapon down through the years for Terrible Tim.
Not a lot of movement from either fighter in this fight.
Well, that's typical. That's what I mentioned about the fights. He can lure you into fighting that fight, that little bit of he lulls you to sleep kind of bout.
Come on, fellas, work out.
It does lay on you, and just that weight on your shoulders, it does. It wears fighters out. You go on for rounds. That gives us a chance for you, Rich, to take a look at the scouting report brought to you by the U.S. Army. Teen Hawk.
Yeah, and I got my military haircut. I hope you saw that. In honor of the U.S. Army. Here's Darroll Wilson, fights at a fast pace. He started that way in the first round, then he backed off. Good power puncher. The guy can bang, no doubt about it. He's gotten some good fighters out of there. And he has faced a pretty good lineup of opposition throughout his career so far. So they're working that end swell on him already here at the end of the first round. Across the way, you have terrible Tim Witherspoon. And Cassius Green waiting in from the outside. Slim Jim Robinson right in front of him. He's been fighting very much, has fought the very best heavyweights down through the last 2 decades. And, of course, his technique to be patient and then flash that right hand. There you see it coming over the top. That's what we were talking about. He's got you thinking there's no way you can throw a right hand from there, but he does.
And his hand speed actually is still pretty good.
Right.
So this is the second round.
Come up, Tim. Come up, Tim.
Witherspoon both taller, bigger than Darroll Wilson.
Great to hear from Larry Holmes, the former old rival of Tim Witherspoon. There's that right hand, and that landed on the top of the head. You still see the damage that it did.
And he still got some wobbly pins here.
Witherspoon flashing that famous right hand of his.
I don't think Wilson's all the way back yet.
Well, you know, when you land it on top of the head, sometimes like that, it can serve to make you dizzy, Barry, and it can just discombobulate you. If you recall that fight that Fresno killed, he's out. He is out.
I mean,
and caught up in the ring too.
Yeah, us, and it was right in front of us, and he's still out.
Wow, as soon as he hit him with that, you could just see it, Barry. He just, oh, man.
You know what, and to Tim Witherspoon's credit, he knew it too, and he didn't hit him again.
That was shocking.
It just froze him.
Darroll Wilson just got tagged. All right, Barry, let's not only watch, but listen to what a knockout punch sounds like. And just hearing that thud is a little scary. Now let's see how and why that KO came about. Witherspoon's body punch brings Wilson's hands down, and when Wilson jabs, he brings it back low. The opening is there. This is an experienced move. This is how you set up a knockout. It looks like one punch, but it's been set up. And Tim Witherspoon can smile again, even through a mouthpiece.